Hi everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas quilt block project. And today we are doing another applique block, and this one is house number 2, and this is the block that I made. And I hope you'll stay with me, and I'll show you how to make this quilt block. Okay, today we're going to work on house number 2, and I've already applied some of my appliques to the back side of 2 of the fabrics. This is the house and the chimney. On this piece of fabric I have the door, the window frame and the mullions, and the window box. And on this fabric I'm going to put the roof, the door frame, and the window. So I'm going to turn this over to the wrong side, and I want trying to decide which way I want this to go. Do I want the leaves, the branches to go down, or do I want them to come up? And I think I'm going to have them go down. And I kind of like this corner has a lot of the metallic in it, so I'm going to turn it this direction. Okay, I am using Light Easy Steam 2. This is by Pane, and it is a pressure sensitive fusible, so you don't have to iron it onto your fabric to get it to stick. It's sticky on both sides. I do use the heat on it though, because I just like to do that, and I think I get a better result that way. But you draw your design on the gridded side, and then you pull the release paper off the back, and then this side is sticky. So my finger, it sticks to my finger, and then you just place it on the back of your fabric where you want it, and then just finger press it down or rub it with your fingers like I'm doing here, and then it's on there pretty secure. So that's all you have to do for that. And this is the window pane. I'm going to trim this fusible down a little bit. You want to make sure you leave a space around your fusible, around your design. You want to make sure you leave some space around the design you've drawn. And I'm going to just put that right there. This will kind of look like there's a reflection of a window there, I think. And then this one, I'll just lay this over here. Okay, and take the back off of this one. And just lay that down there. And then you can, at this point, you can go ahead and cut out your appliques and then fuse them down to your fabric or onto your release paper or your Teflon sheet. I'm going to go ahead and use a dry iron and just hold this down for about 5 seconds. That just makes it a little bit more secure. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other pieces, and when this cools down, when all of these cool down, then I'll go ahead and cut out the appliques. One thing I recommend when you're doing a fusible applique project is to pre-wash your fabrics. That gets rid of the sizing that is in those fabrics, and it will help help the fusible work better. It isn't absolutely necessary though. I have pre-washed my background square, which is this dark blue, because it is a blue fabric, and blue tends to bleed just like red fabrics bleed. And I washed this by hand in my kitchen sink, and I got a ton of blue dye out of this, so there was a lot of extra dye on this fabric. There's nothing wrong with the fabric, it just had extra dye in it. So this is my 12.5-inch square, and I have all my pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and cut them out, and then I'll show you how to make a collage of your appliques. Now on this house roof, I'm going to go ahead and round the corners just because I like that look. You can do that, or you could leave them straight if you want. It's all up to you. And I drew the pattern with the corners being squared off, but you can certainly round them off. So we have all our applique pieces here, and now to make some sense out of all of these. So I'm going to move over my background square, get that out of the way, and I'm going to put down my release paper. Now this is the back from a piece of Steam-A-Seam 2, and I just took the whole sheet off. I had pressed it onto a piece of fabric and then removed the back sheet or the front sheet. So this gives you release paper, and it's got the waxy side here. Okay, so use the waxy side to build your appliques, and I'm going to start with the door. Now I'm going to take off the paper in the back that has the grid on it. You draw your design on the grid, and there's the paper and there's the fusible, so it's sticky, so it'll stick to the release paper. So, like that. And here is the door frame, and I'm going to take this paper off. This stuff sticks really well. It's just like using heat and bond or Wonder under it. It sticks well, and the paper sticks well, and sometimes it's hard to get it off. But let's get this on. And it will stick to itself. I can get that off. Okay, here we go. But it's repositionable, so you can, manipulate it however you want. But there we go. And that's the door. This is the window. And we'll take this paper off. This window is rectangular, and it's going to go vertical. So here's the frame for it right there, and here are the mullions, and that will go on top. So let me go ahead and take the paper off this one. Now if you have trouble with fine motor skills, this part might be a little bit difficult. I don't usually, but sometimes this is still a challenge. And when I get cold, then it's even more of a challenge. And my fingers are a little bit cold right now, so let me pull this down just a little bit. We've had some 70 degree weather last week, and it was really nice. It was in the mid to upper 70s. But last night a cold spell came through yesterday afternoon, I think it was. And so now we're back down to normal temperature, so it's a little cold, especially when we got used to that 70 degree weather. And actually Monday it was 70. Now it's Wednesday and it's about 40. Okay, so there's the window, and then here is the window box. Now I don't plan on putting anything in these window boxes, but you certainly can. I just want to make sure I got it squared up pretty well. Okay, door and window, and I think that's all I need to do on this paper. I think everything else I can do on my block. Okay, so here's the block, and this is a small house. So you have lots of room, and you can decide where you want your house. If you want it to one side, or if you want it in the middle, you know, you can decide what you want to do. And I think a lot will depend on what, see, that goes this way, what trees you want to put with your house. So let me show you the trees. For this block, I decided I wanted to do tree number 3. That's this one here. And I'm going to make each layer a different color. I'm going to use scraps from this block and from the house number 1 block. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out my appliques and assemble this block. Okay, so this is a piece that I want to collage. So I want to get this sheet and lay it down, and I need to get a trunk. So this tree is going to start at the bottom, and it's going to build its way up. So I know you've never seen a blue tree, I don't think, like, well, a blue spruce, I guess it's a bluish green tree, but there we go. I think that's pretty. Okay, so I need a trunk fabric, and okay, lay that piece down. Okay, I'm going to move this window, and let me move that over here so I have room to work. Now I need to work from the bottom up, so let's take the backing off. Which is always the hardest part, is taking the backing paper off. And you can score that paper with a pen, a straight pen, to make it easier. I'm going to take advantage of my grid here. And it's off a little bit. It's not quite on there completely square, but it's close. But I can watch like down here to make sure I've got things going fairly straight. And this is repositionable, so you can always adjust it if you need to. If you get it all laid out and then you realize like you're kind of building it this direction, you can straighten it out. It's nice and sticky. Go. Piece number 2. And I'm thinking I might want to pull this piece down a little bit, so I'll take a good look at it when I get done. And there's this piece. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around so I can see it, and yeah, I do want to move that down. So I'm just going to lift off the top 3 pieces. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so now we're ready to put the block together. And I have the guideline here for this house. And that way I can make sure I've got everything going the direction I want it. And I can also decide exactly where I want this house to be. And in my first block, I did not take the house all the way to the bottom. I kind of wanted it centered. And you have to remind yourself that you have a seam allowance to consider. You have a 1/4 inch all the way around. And use a ruler if you want to measure, which I have a seam gauge here. This is an old one and I lost the slider out of it. But I'm going to measure this one. This is about 1 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, a little bit, just a little bit more. About 1 7/8 actually. Okay, 1 7/8 to 1 3/4. So I want things kind of the same. So I want to take a piece of chalk. This is a charcoal pencil. And I'm going to make a couple of lines to help me line everything up. Let me get another line over here. Okay. So I still have the release paper on the back of this, so I can still adjust things. So if I put the house like this, and then I'll put the tree over here. And I chose this tree because it's wide, and I think it'll take up a good amount of space, and I think it'll look good there. You could choose to put the house in the center if you want. I just want to put mine on the side. And I'm going to go ahead and put the door on, and according to my layout here, the door goes on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and put the door, let's see, I'm going to need to put it pretty close to the edge according to my diagram. And I got a little extra here, so I'm going to trim that off. So that goes there, and then the window goes here. So I have to leave room for this edge of the flower box. That's why they're so close. And that looks like I've got it a little crooked. Let me adjust. Let me turn it and look. Okay, there, I'm happier with that. Okay, so here we go. Line up the house with my line there. Add the roof. You can slide the roof down as far as you want. You can slide it up as high as you can if you want. I'm going to bring mine down a little bit like here. And I can tell from my drawing, my layout, about where I have it here. If you have a light box, you can put this on your light box and lay your background fabric on top of your pattern, and then you can see your design a little bit better. But that's going to go about like that, and then I'll have my tree, which will go here. And you could always add little bushes or other trees in here if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and take the tree off the release paper. And I'm going to lay it down. Isn't that just so cute? I just really love this fabric line. I think it is just so sweet. Okay, now I've got a lot of room up here, so I may need to pull the house up a little bit. Oh, I got the chimney yet. What did I do with the chimney? Here's the chimney. And my chimney will go on this side. chimney will go here. So I just got to decide which way that goes. That's going to go like right here. So that kind of balances it out. You can also add like a star on the top of your tree if you want to make the tree bigger. You can add more layers to it, or just make the tree bigger. You can make a bigger, trunk. That thing there, the trunk. Now this is about the same value as the background, so it doesn't show quite so well right now, but when I do my machine applique around here, I think it will show better. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that, and I think I'm ready to go ahead and put things down. So let me go ahead and take off the release paper. Another thing I could do is just to pull everything up a little bit, but I kind of want all my houses to line up like they're on a street, since these blocks are going to go right next to each other. So I want to kind of be consistent with that. Another thing I should probably measure is see how far in I am here. This is about 1 1/8, and this is 1 1/2. So let me move this over just a little bit. There's 1 1/8. Right about there. Okay. These chalk marks will brush off, so if you mark your quilt like this, do your quilt blocks, you might want to make sure you have something that can come off easily. Okay, and then we'll do the roof, and then we'll tuck the chimney underneath it. Okay. And let me see. 3 1/8. 3 1/8. And then the chimney. And that will go right under here. Okay, so how does that look? I think it's pretty cute. And as I said, if you want to, you could put a little bush in here, whatever you want. A sled, whatever. So anyway, and actually I think I'm going to move the house over, because I got like 1 1/8 inch here, but I only have 3/4 of an inch here. It's like 1 1/8 from here, but that's the other edge. So I am going to move everything. Look at that, it all came off in one piece. It's just so nice. Okay, that's 1 1/4, so that is pretty good. Okay, so what do you think about that? I think that's pretty cute. I just really love these fabrics. Now, blue is my favorite color, so that's kind of part of it, but I just really love how all of this line just all goes together so well. And I'm just going to brush some of that away. Okay, so I'm going to wet my muslin piece of fabric. And we're going to lay this across, and I've squirted water on both sides. Lay that on. I'm on the highest setting, and now I need to press for 10 seconds in each place. So I'll just keep watching my, this is 5 to 10 seconds, so let's try 5 seconds first. Okay, there we go. Now it's all ready for applique and to be put into the quilt. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.